Just before we dive in, exciting announcement on the Smartsheet side. You probably noticed that some of the Smartsheet folks on the call today have our Engage backgrounds up. We're very excited to announce that our annual customer conference, Engage, is back in person this year. So this is the first time since 2019. And we are super psyched to be back in person with our customers on September 19th through the 22nd in Seattle, Washington. So if you're unfamiliar with Engage, we do this every year. It's a great time to network with your peers or other Smartsheet users, and also meet some of the Smartsheet crew as well. We're going to have a number of sessions. So if you enjoy user groups like this, we highly encourage you attend Engage, because many of our sessions will actually include customer speakers this year. So you'll have the chance to hear from your peers, learn a little bit more about what they're doing with the platform. And of course, we have some educational sessions as well, really around functionality within Smartsheet. So I will get a link to that in the chat in just a moment. So if you are interested in attending or just learning more, you can click on that link that I just placed there. Perfect. Thank you, Claire. So now we can dive in. Just to introduce myself, my name is Kelsey Hayden, and I'm a product marketing manager here at Smartsheet, helping to run our user group program with my colleague, Claire Sternoff. If you've been to our user groups before, you have probably seen her smiling face. We run this together and excited to have her here. And we're also joined by Chris Richardson, an account executive at Smartsheet. And Chris actually helps to manage the relationship between Smartsheet and our speakers for today. So we're excited to be joined by Chris as well. Just to introduce our speakers, we're excited to be joined today by our Platinum Business Partner, Achievan. And from Achievan, we have Amin Penjwani, Managing Partner, and also Amin Ung, a Senior Business Solutions Consultant. And then along with Achievan, we're also joined by Achievan Hedit, Senior Director, R&D Systems Engineering and Program Delivery at Cooper Surgical. So very excited to be joined by all three of them today and to hear from them as well. One thing I did want to call out, so we do have a lot of folks attending today. So because of that, you may have noticed that when you entered the webinar, you were muted. So one thing we do have available is we have the Q&A button or the chat option at the bottom of the screen. So at any point during today's session, if you have questions for the Smartsheet team or for any of our speakers, feel free to pop those questions in there. We'll be sure to get to them during the webinar or follow up if we don't have time afterwards. We do have some time allotted at the end of today's presentation for any of those questions that are coming in. So please feel free to utilize either one of those options. We definitely want to hear from you and answer any questions that you have. One other thing too that I want to note just before we get to the agenda is we do get a lot of our feedback from these sessions from the polls that we run throughout. So similar to the two that you saw when you entered, if you could continue to answer any of those polls as they come up on the screen, I'll do my best to give you some warning in the chat before we launch them. But we really do appreciate the feedback and insights from our customers. And it's how we can improve future sessions that we run for you all. So appreciate your involvement there. All right, so just to dive into the agenda, in just a few moments, I will be handing it over to Amin to provide us with some information about Achievan and their different offerings. And after that, we'll have the chance to hear from Achievan, who will share more about his role at Cooper Surgical and how his team is utilizing Smartsheet to manage their R&D projects. And I'm really excited for him to share because he will not only be highlighting their use of Control Center and Resource Management, which are two of our premium offerings, but also really talking about how they've been able to effectively manage and deploy resources so that they're aligning to business priorities and providing better transparency across their organization. And then finally, Amin from Achievan will provide additional insights into the Smartsheet solution that Cooper Surgical and Achievan collaborated on together. So very excited for him to share as well. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, after those presentations, we do have time for any questions that you all have. So please feel free to utilize that Q&A or chat option throughout the session. And then finally, as a wrap up, we'll hear from Claire, who will provide us with an overview of some available Smartsheet programs and resources that you all can take advantage of today. So excited to hear about that. Perfect. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Amin to share more about Achievan.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Kelsey and Claire, and thanks for the Smartsheet team for collaborating with us on this event, and thank you for all the attendees who have joined. And we have a very large number, so thank you. We're truly humbled by all the participation. So quick intro and about Achievan. So Achievan is a Smartsheet's platinum level partner. So what that means, this is the highest level of partnership. And this requires us to carry a certain level of certification and customer satisfaction. Recently, Smartsheet awarded us the North American Partner of the Year, recognizing our team's exemplary performance. Achievan has been Smartsheet's partner for over 7 years now. And with more than 250 successful projects, we have worked on any and all use cases across many different industries. We're a full cycle Smartsheet Services partner. So what that means is that we provide sales, implementation, training to our clients, and post-implementation account management and customer success. So what makes Achievan different? With Achievan, when we work with our clients, we always put people and process before the tool. So what that means is that we feel that the understanding of the intersection of the business process and how people interact with those business processes are key to then defining the appropriate solution within Smartsheet. I mean, when we work with your team, we put something together, a work map. And what that means is that that work map essentially shows the intersection of how people, process, will then appropriately interact with Smartsheet to achieve your business outcome. Our team has very strong expertise in various industries, specifically in healthcare, where we bring experience from past implementations to our engagement with you. Our team includes over 12 team members that are certified by Smartsheet for your solution implementation. We also have strong integration experience, integrating Smartsheet's own tools and also third-party related tools with Smartsheet as well. Next slide. These are some of our clients within the healthcare space with whom we have had the great opportunity to work with, implementing various use cases and solutions within Smartsheet. And my final slide essentially speaks about our key services. So working with you and your team, we can help with Smartsheet products in terms of sales and identifying the right product mix for your team, implementation, using best practices to implement Smartsheet for your team and for your organization. And third is training for your team for Smartsheet, using the implementation and also best practices to ensure that you're using Smartsheet to its full extent. And one other thing we want to share today is that at the end of today's session, our team is actually very happy to share a virtual goodie bag with all the participants. So hang in there till Q&A. So when Q&A begins, there will be a link that'll be shared. There's a lot of key offers and free tools and templates that we're sharing today as well. So when Q&A comes, look out for that link. And with this, I would like to introduce our customer and our partner, Achievan, whom we had a great opportunity to work with. Achievan leads the systems and engineering program delivery within the R&D group at Cooper Surgical. And working with Achievan has been an absolute pleasure. He's been really engaged during our implementation with him. And I would love to now pass it on to him to introduce himself and share his story with Achievan and with Smartsheet. Thank you.
Thank you, Amin. And good morning, good afternoon to all of you, depending on where you are. Happy to present in this user group. So a couple of words about Cooper Surgical and my role at Cooper Surgical. So at Cooper Surgical, our mission is to improve the lives of women, babies, and families, and we deliver solutions to do so. Our products span across surgical devices, systems, various obstetrics devices, in vitro fertilization, workstations, genomics, and other products and services. These services also include cryo storage for donors and genomics to do DNA analysis to improve fertilization process. My role is to ensure successful execution strategy for all of these projects at Cooper Surgical. Some of our systems are fairly complex and involve software, firmware, hardware, and mechanics. We look at each project from a systems architecture point of view, and depending on the user needs, we develop a unique functional strategy to execute these projects. So a couple of words about my Smartsheet journey. Smartsheet has been used at Cooper Surgical for a while for a variety of activities, including purchasing and other departments. It has been used for actually a number of years. But the use of the Smartsheet has been limited to the basic Smartsheet itself, and we had not used Control Center or resource management to a large degree. We saw an opportunity to significantly improve our project management activities and reporting to the entire business by integrating some of the Smartsheet capabilities like resource management and Control Center. After me, Amin is going to talk some more about the resource management and Control Center mechanics, but I will just say that resource management allows you to keep track of your resources across all the projects and portfolios, and it is synchronized to Smartsheet, so no need to re-enter resource data. Control Center, integrates all the portfolios and automates project creation. We felt this is a good time to pull this off as resource management and Control Center have matured enough at Smartsheet that now they're really fully functional, and it was a good time for us to kind of pull this off. Couple of fun facts about me. While most of my career has been in engineering management, and really my passion has been and continues to be product development, but I am really enjoying the use of Smartsheet tools and creating this effective environment around program delivery and system engineering. I'm not a certified Smartsheet user, nor am I a power user of any kind, but I hack my way through and try to get things done. Also tennis player and chess player. So what was our organization's business need? Cooper Surgical R&D is growing and executing a substantial portfolio of projects. There was a need for us to manage these portfolios in a more effective and efficient manner. So our activities in R&D falls into four buckets. The first bucket is innovation. This is the front end of our business, where strategic marketing and R&D innovation teams work together to do market research, create advanced prototypes, and do testing and really test the market. The next bucket that usually follows the innovation is the product development bucket. This is where this involves us launching a project into production, and it usually requires a global cross-functional team going through our 5 phases of design control process. The third bucket is our software engineering activities. Many of our products do include software, which is developed by this group, but also Cooper Surgical sells software as a service and also software as a product. So this group handles all of those projects. And the fourth bucket is the product engineering bucket. This is really more of a sustaining engineering activities across all of our global plants and many different activities. At any one time, we can have 200 projects or more in this bucket. Some of the major buckets in this set of activities in this bucket are around supply chain challenges and changing materials and dealing with that whole issue. The other bucket is EU MDR, and I'm sure many people in this call can relate to both of these buckets. So what was our challenge and pain point? First, I would say that R&D projects were being managed separately. So project reporting to senior leadership was not consistent, mostly done in meetings. Project templates were not standardized. Each one of the buckets that I talked about, innovation, product development, product engineering, and software engineering, have very unique needs and a unique set of stakeholders. Therefore, each bucket requires its own custom template that was not standardized. Resource utilization and capacity across all R&D was not available during project scoping and project selection. Although managers were keeping track of their own resources, there was no holistic and transparent way of looking at collective resources utilized throughout all R&D at that time. Deadlines were sometimes missed in some cases due to lack of resources or change of priorities or scope creep. I would say though, overall, Cooper Surgical has always been successful in executing large projects which get special attention. It's more of a medium-sized project and smaller projects that were sometimes missing deadlines. Resource utilization versus project priority was not transparent to business leaders and the organization. And there was no central location to view all the data, all the project data across all of these portfolios. You really had to call the project owner to get an update on that. So we needed to establish a disciplined process to effectively manage all of our R&D resources with respect to business priorities, and be able to provide the status to our business leaders and our senior leadership all the time in a real-time basis, and do this without creating a high maintenance environment. And I do like to emphasize that we want to create an environment that's not high maintenance, meaning there's not a lot of manual processes. The objective is to really help the organization, not to hinder it. This is where some of the automation tools inside Smartsheet helped us, and I will explain them in the future slides. So Achievan was identified as a solution implementation partner for this activity. They had done some work with Cooper in past, so we knew them, and also they have a good reputation with other clients. We collaborated together to create the R&D project management portal, where Cooper Surgical associates can go in and request or propose a new R&D project. And also it's allowed us to provide progress along with resource utilization in a transparent manner to our management. Synergy of the tools, this is resource management and control center, and automation within Smartsheet was highly leveraged to achieve business objectives, again, without creating a high maintenance environment. And I'm deliberately using the word synergy because any one of these tools can function independently. However, we were able to accomplish more by kind of integrating them together, and you will see what I mean in future slides. So now I will go through some of the building blocks. The foundation of our system is the project intake, where projects are requested. This is an inclusive system where anybody in the company can go in and request a project. This promotes a culture of continuous improvement and innovation, that people can come and request projects, and it gets reviewed. The data in the intake form allows project prioritization with appropriate resources and skills. And other steps in the intake process is to rank projects based on financial impact, establish budget, resource requirements, and determining what bucket these projects belong to. R&D resource heat map allows to appropriately staff projects with realistic commitments in a transparent manner. So if we have the resources and the project is properly scoped, then we can accept the project with high confidence and we will meet that deadline. If we do not have the resources to take on a particular project, then that promotes a conversation, and we have this monthly meeting that we have a conversation with our business leaders, and we have to make decisions about reshuffling projects, maybe stopping another project to start something else, or adding resources, etc. But once we accept the project, we will execute successfully, and if we cannot take the project on, it will go on a waiting list, and I will explain to you what that means. So resource management does enable us to automatically resource updates, to get resource updates along with the project wait list. This was key for us because now it allows us to accept projects as active, meaning that we are going to take them on, or put them on a waiting list, meaning that these projects are viable and they have been accepted, except we don't have the resources right now. We're going to work on them when resources become available. So this is an example of a snapshot of our one part of our dashboard that kind of shows the active versus the waiting list. So the section above is active. This means these projects have been accepted. Teams are working on them. There is a business category is identified, the completion date, the progress percentage is shown, the health is shown, comments and owner is shown, and projects are getting executed. The one below it on waiting list means that this project came in, went through the intake process. It was accepted that this is a viable project and we will work on it eventually. However, at this moment in time, it's on the waiting list, and it will find its way up to the active list as resources become available. So in this system, it is clear to all Cooper Surgical organization what R&D is working on and what is on the waiting list. The level is the project itself. So the 4 template types automatically is created via Control Center once we accept the project as active. As I mentioned earlier, each one of these buckets require its own template because it has unique needs and unique set of stakeholders. And we use the Smartsheet workspace to view all the projects in the same central location. I will also say that in the intake log sheet, once I change the status of the project from new to active, then the system can automatically create the specific project template with the project name and automatically populates the project and puts it in that workspace. The next level is portfolio. And all the portfolio dashboards roll up automatically to the R&D dashboard, via Control Center. And each portfolio has its own dashboard above and beyond the global portfolio for all the portfolios. And that's also created automatically with Smartsheet. And appropriate metrics are visible in the company intranet, as you saw in the previous slide. So this slide shows another snapshot of our portal around innovation and product development. That again, people go in and see the status on their projects. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Amin Ong, who is a senior business solution consultant at Achievan, and Amin has been instrumental in implementing our system and our success.
Thanks, Kewan. Thanks for that introduction and for your kind words. I'm really excited to share with everyone the journey that we've had with Cooper Surgical here. We can go to the next slide. So my name is Amin Ong, and I'm a senior business solutions consultant with Achievan. And my take on Smartsheet is that I find Smartsheet to be the intuitive and the ideal solution for all project, work, and portfolio management solutions. My Smartsheet journey, so I've led several Smartsheet implementations for enterprise clients globally, including the US, Canada, and France. And I've leveraged Control Center, resource management, dynamic view for various use cases. Some fun facts about me. So I'm a products and solutions certified, and I'm an internal formulas guru. And I've been awarded the Ontario Volunteer Service Award by the province of Ontario here in Canada. Okay, so here, basically at Achievan, we first seek to understand our clients' business challenges and then develop the solution architecture that solves that business challenge. In the case of Cooper Surgical, they were looking to improve their demand planning, project planning, and tracking, and portfolio management. So to solve for that, we started with the 3-tier architecture, which would start with collecting all the project ideas as intake. That is the bottom layer of the pyramid that you see in front of you. This would allow for capturing all ideas and managing incoming demand. Then these ideas from intake are then vetted and approved, and then they become projects, which is the middle layer of the pyramid. And then they're rolled up into a portfolio level, which is the top layer that you see here. Now I'm going to present the project and portfolio level architecture in detail. So I would like to bring your attention to the slide. At the project level, we have provided Cooper Surgical an avenue to capture all project ideas using the new project request form, catered specifically for all their needs. The form is published internally on their intranet website and communicated to all stakeholders. So this is a unified intake process that's hosted centrally, ensuring that any and all ideas were captured. The intake process includes a review and approval workflow as well. So this enabled the R&D team to review, access, and score the incoming ideas. The intake sheet also enables collaboration between the R&D team and the requester, using comments, attachments, and update requests. Once a request is approved, Control Center was used to create the project folder. By leveraging Smartsheet's Control Center, we ensured consistency and scalability as each new project gets provisioned with a pre-specified template. So as you can see, these include the project schedule, RAID log, and the project dashboard. That is uniform across the entire portfolio, and therefore it enables greater reporting functionalities and much more useful oversight capabilities and dashboards, because it's all so consistent. Using Control Center at Cooper Surgical solved the business challenge that was discussed earlier of not having consistent templates and reporting mechanisms, right? And then once the project folder was created and project planning commenced, we connected the project schedule also to the Smartsheet's resource management. So Smartsheet's resource management is a fantastic tool to assign resources to projects based on their availability and current workload. So using Smartsheet's resource management capacity to allocation feature was key for Cooper Surgical to solve the business challenge that we discussed of assessing projects by reviewing resource availability. All these elements in the project folder automatically rolled up the project data into the portfolio view, which we'll talk in the future slides. So let's look at some of these features now. Yeah, here, this is the dashboard that shows a quick snapshot of all the project ideas that are being requested. So for example, here, there are KPIs that are being tracked, and it provides an overview of the volume of project requests. So this is a sample dashboard that is also talking about, for example, project requests by category, etc. Let's see how the resource management provides a snapshot of the availability of resources in the next slide. Yeah, so this is a sample capture from like a heat map from Smartsheet's resource management. It's a quick way to visualize the availability of resources across projects and assign resources to new projects accordingly. In this visual, what you are seeing is resource allocation over time periods. For example, right now we're seeing it's like a week view. You can also change it to like days, months, or weeks as you prefer. And the percentages basically show the resource allocation during that time, that specific time period. So any resources that are over allocated are highlighted in red, as you see as an example here. So now we'll look at the portfolio level. Yeah, so this portfolio level basically brings all of the information that we discussed from the different projects into a consolidated view, right? So we've discussed how the intake goes to project, and now we're going to the portfolio level. So it's basically leveraging all that consistent framework we've set up so far through Control Center to come to this level. Key metrics that are like across all projects they are consolidated into a single view for high-level visibility. And this view enables oversight across all projects through a portfolio dashboard, which is also hosted on Cooper Surgical's intranet website and provides visibility across the enterprise. So some KPIs like project health, ownership, and project progress, they help Cooper's leadership team to make timely decisions. So basically, it all comes together then into this portfolio level. So I'll now invite Kaywan to speak regarding the success we've achieved through our solution.
Thank you, Amin. I can briefly say that this initiative has been successful, and we did meet our objectives. We did leverage the right tools inside Smartsheet, and as I mentioned earlier, the synergy of the tools allowed us to achieve this without creating a highly manual and high maintenance environment. We have gone live and have received good compliments. The system is up and running, and projects are being managed. So all in all, it's been good.